They're exotic, they're beautiful, and some of them hardly look real.
These are bromeliads, and they're very much alive. Bromeliads are a big, diverse group of plants, mostly from tropical America. Their shapes, their colorful patterned leaves, and their beautiful flowers make it very easy to fall under their spell.
Bromeliad diversity is amazing. Their evolutionary adaptations allow them to thrive under some of the most challenging conditions. Bromeliads capture the attention of backyard growers as well as serious collectors, and their popularity seems to grow each year, thanks in part to their striking colors, their sculptural forms, and the ability of some bromeliads to live on thin air.
From pineapple to potted plants to Spanish moss, there's huge diversity in the world of bromeliads. We'll show you today on A Growing Passion.
Bromeliads were first noted in history when Columbus brought pineapples back to Spain. Even today, the pineapple is the only bromeliad cultivated for food. The rest are valued as ornamental and habitat plants. Bromeliads originate almost exclusively in the New World tropics, in Central and South America. They've evolved a range of traits that help them thrive in some pretty challenging conditions, from arid deserts to misty mountaintops. In our home gardens, then, there are bromeliads that develop gorgeous, long-lasting blooms yet require little maintenance, infrequent irrigation, and minimal soil. New bromeliads continue to be introduced from discoveries in the wild and from the work of plant breeders who tinker with crossing different varieties. One of the best places to see bromeliads, both long-standing cultivars and new introductions, is the Bromeliad Society International World Bromeliad Conference. This one was held in San Diego.
There is a throng of people outside this door. They are waiting because in just about a minute, they're going to be led into this tent where all the really cool bromeliads are on display. They're the early bird shoppers. I'm going to move out of the way because if I don't, they will run me over. Just watch.
The kind of people who come to the World Conference are coming from all over the globe. We have people who are researching new species. We have people who are really interested in maybe what the next flower is for hybridizing, the things that you might see in the grocery store from 10 years from now.
If you have a plant addiction, proceed with caution. Bromeliads are the designer shoes of the plant kingdom.
Wow.
They're exotic, colorful, and they have patterns ranging from pinstripes to blotches, splatters, blushes, and polka dots.
The texture, the color, the patterns, they're all fantastic.
The international community comes to this biennial conference to find the hottest collectibles, to see the newest trends, and collect the rarest hybrids.
I'm collecting for the Beijing Botanical Garden and the Sterman Botanical Garden. I'm seeing some of the most beautiful specimens I've ever seen. Yes, I'm very happy to be here.
I am here because I something new. I come back.
But they make me happy and keep me out of trouble.
This is beautiful, but it's $125.
Yes.
That's a little pricey.
Yes.
You want to explain?
Sure. We have something for everyone, and this is a fairly new variety. It's a man-made hybrid. It's a Cinca-regalia, which is a Cinca crossed with a Neoregelia, but this particular one came up variegated, so it makes it a very special plant, and everybody wants it, and there's only so many to go around, so you got to pay up.
So this pays rent for the next...
This pays the rent.
Okay, I got it. All right. I have to look at this because that is spectacular.
It is.
What is this?
Okay, this is a Neoregelia hybrid. It was made in Costa Rica, and it's a beautiful plant, very complex hybrid. But what makes it special is that you can see that it's albo-marginated, it has a variegation on the margin. That elevates it. You know, one out of many thousands will come up with a variegation like that. And that added to just the general beauty of the plant makes it a very collectible plant.
The variety here is breathtaking. There are nearly 3,000 kinds of bromeliads in eye-catching colors, shapes, and sizes.
These really beautiful plants are two genera of bromeliads. These are Hectea and Deccia. They are gorgeous. Look at the color, the burgundy, the silver, and look at these wicked spines. If you want to keep dogs and kids out of your garden beds, plant these.
Bromeliads make the ideal patio plants. They add an exotic touch to the garden, yet they're surprisingly resilient. Southern California is a bromeliad haven, home to several of the country's largest growers and most notable nurseries.
Pam, this is a beautiful display. I think it's gorgeous. Tell me, what kind of bromeliads do you have in here primarily?
The majority of the plants in my display are tillandsias, commonly called air plants.
And the ones with the long hanging inflorescence, the flowers, are those tillandsias?
That's Tillandsia izii from Chiapas, Mexico.
Wow, how old are those plants? They have this long, beautiful cascading flower pendant.
They only grow from seed, and it would take about 15 to 20 years to mature a plant and flower it.
So those plants are 15 to 20 years old?
Yes.
Wow. You grow these in your greenhouse, right?
Correct.
So we're going to come to the greenhouse. Will you give us a tour?
Sure.
All right, I can't wait.
Bird Rock Tropicals in Encinitas, California, is where owner Pam Coity Hyatt breeds, grows, and sells tillandsias, along with many other kinds of bromeliads.
What's Bird Rock Tropicals known for?
We're known for basically tillandsia hybridizing and growing a large assortment of rare varieties of tillandsias.
Tillandsias, which are a group of bromeliads.
Yes.
Yep. But you also grow all these other kinds of bromeliads too.
Right. I've also grown a large selection of Nerigelias, acmeas, and other bromeliads for Southern California landscapes.
I know tillandsias are really special plants, especially ones like this, these little ones that are hanging. Which one is that?
This is Tillandsia tectorum. It's indigenous to Ecuador, and you can see it's got lots of white hairs. Those are called trichomes, and tillandsias are highly evolved to adapt to their different environments. So this particular plant grows in a dry area, so it grows these appendages to gather more moisture out of the atmosphere.
That's why it's all furry.
That's why it's all furry.
This one's really little. I've seen ones that are bigger. How big do they get?
They can get quite large. In fact, there's a Tillandsia rowii behind you.
Wow, that's a tillandsia too.
That's a tillandsia as well. A lot of people don't realize that's an air plant, but it grows on rock cliffs in Peru above a river in northern Peru. Has
Look
a very
at
long
the size
pendant
of the
spike.
flower stalk. That is incredible.
These are epiphytes, which means they grow on other plants for support. They have little or no root system, so they absorb water and nutrients from the environment. Since they're not parasites, they don't harm their host. In our homes, tillandsia are ideal for people with little space. They're slow growing and they require very little maintenance. And they come in a huge variety of shapes with brightly colored flowers. Pam began hybridizing and growing air plants from seed in 1985. Today, she specializes in breeding new and unusual tillandsia.
Well, a lot of these are my hybrids. Some of them are very slow. This is a Chiapensis Beetlesbacheri hybrid. It was one that was only successful with one plant, so I've had to grow from offsets to develop 10 plants, but I think it's got good potential, so I keep propagating it.
How many plants do you think, or how many varieties do you think you've created over the course of your career?
Well, I made about 3,000 different hybrid crosses. Not all of them took, not all of them were viable, but there's probably close to 1,000 different crosses in this nursery.
And how many of those are in the industry or in the trade?
A lot of mine are not in the trade at this time because I'm still developing them, and my intention is to put them into tissue culture where they can be propagated in a more rapid, fast way.
So this is really a long-term
It's
investment.
really research and development.
Yeah.
It really is.
This greenhouse is full of rare tillandsia that Pam uses as her propagating stock.
I know you are a master hybridizer, and you've got some of your creations right here. Why don't you tell us what you've done?
Well, in this instance, I took two very common plants, Tillandsia streptophylla, which is a beautiful plant in its own right with the curly leaves and the big fat bulbous base. Nice pink inflorescence, which is faded at this point, but it's usually a bright pink. And I crossed it with Tillandsia caput medusa, another common plant that has a fat base, but it's smaller, more elongated, and more upright inflorescence that's bright red. These two created this plant. And this plant got the best of the two parents. It got the upright inflorescence, multiple branchings, bright red, a nice fat base that's a little more elongated.
I think it's interesting, even the leaf color is intermediary. This one's a little more green, this
Right.
is a little more icy, and this is in between.
Yes.
This is beautiful.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful.
Well, another hybridizer from Arizona in the 70s made a beautiful hybrid that's currently very popular called Tillandsia curly slim, and he crossed this Streptophylla with Tillandsia intermedia, which is this species here, which is very narrow, elongated. It's also got curly leaves, and so does the Streptophylla, and this is the result. So, and he named this curly slim because it's very slim and very curly.
Whether Pam is making new crosses or propagating something more common, patience is the key to her success.
What is this?
So here we have an old inflorescence.
It's all dried out.
It's all dried out. It's been about 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this is the seed pod that is ripe and ready and is ruptured. The seed itself is the little tiny brown dot that you can hardly see
On the end of all this fluff.
on the end of the fluff.
There they go.
Pam harvests seeds, then germinates them on wooden frames. It takes 15 months from seed to tiny plant, and then years more for the plants to reach maturity.
Once they grow up, then they come
Then
here.
they get moved to these trays.
How old are these?
These were, so they're 6 years old?
Oh,
6 years? But they're still at least 2 to 4 years from blooming.
So 8 to 10 years before they bloom from seed?
From seed, yes.
Whoa, you really do have a lot of patience.
And then you have to add the 2 years for the seed to be ripe.
Ah,
Pam's patience can pay off in big ways.
This is Tillandsia Samantha. This is a hybrid that I made in 1989. And then it was put into the commercial market to some growers in Europe in 2010. And in 2012, it was nominated for a Glass Tulip Award, which is an award from Flora Holland, the largest flower auction in the world. And it actually won the Glass Tulip Award for Best Houseplant of the Year.
so that's like a plant version of the Oscars, right?
It really is.
This took you years to develop. This is like a major investment. What makes it worth it?
Well, this is just a passion of mine, so this is something that I do, so it's enjoyable for me to see the results after so many years. And one of the things that the growers in Holland have told me is that having Samantha changed their whole idea and concept about Tillandsias and air plants. And they realize that there is a commercial option for using Tillandsias in commercial production.
That's pretty
So that
impressive.
was pretty exciting.
Tillandsias continue to grow in popularity thanks to breeders like Pam, whose skill, patience, and creativity have us waiting for her next big discovery. Bromeliads only made their American debut in the 1970s, so they're a modern success story. You've probably seen them in the floral section of the supermarket or in the lobby of your doctor's office. But I bet you didn't know that California's largest commercial bromeliad growers are located in San Diego County.
Wow, that is amazing. Look how beautiful it is in here. And it's humid and it's warm, which is kind of nice because it's cold outside.
Tony Godfrey owns Olive Hill Greenhouses in Fallbrook, California. He already had a successful business growing indoor foliage plants when he discovered bromeliads.
We started in the 80s because the foliage business was flattening out and we needed something additional to grow. We wanted something that we could sell to our same customers. Turns out bromeliads were just catching on with the interior scapers because they wanted something that they could put in a hotel or office that they didn't have to go back in the middle of the week and water it again.
Tony's instincts were on point. Today he has 18 acres of greenhouses that hold 4 million plants. About a third of those are bromeliads in an array of shapes, sizes, and colors. Olive Hill's specialty is a showy tropical epiphytic bromeliad called Guzmania.
You know, I'm looking at this. The orange and the green and yellow contrast is gorgeous, and I think most people don't realize that this is not the flower,
That's
right? This is the bract.
That's the bract, yeah.
These little yellow things, those are the flower buds.
Yeah, they'll come out of those.
So the flower is inside. But the flower really isn't much to look at, right?
It's not.
No.
It's not.
This is the highlight. This is the beauty part.
Yeah.
They're really beautiful.
Thank you.
These are stunning tabletop plants that come in a striking array of foliage and flower colors. And this greenhouse is full of them.
How many bromeliads do you think you ship in a year?
Probably between 600,000 and 700,000 per year.
That's a lot of bromeliads.
Yeah, yeah.
While California leads the nation in the production of potted flowering plants, Tony's operation has international roots, from the origin of the plant material to the soil the plants grow in.
It's really open and spongy.
This is the special peat moss from Latvia, and it's coarser than the Canadian peat moss. It lasts longer, so it's better for the bromeliads. We also put coconut bark in there, which comes from Sri Lanka.
And why from Sri Lanka?
Well, because most coconuts grow right by the ocean, and there's a lot of salt in the air, so they need to be leached out before we put them in the bromeliads, because the bromeliads don't like salt.
Huh, I had no idea there was any salt in coconut coir. What else is in here?
Well, there's a little bit of cedar bark to keep the shotgun fungus from growing. If it weren't there, it might come up and start throwing spores on the flower.
Yeah, and then what
people
happens?
think that was bugs.
Oh, okay.
So we don't want that.
And what are these little blue things? Is that fertilizer?
We put some slow-release fertilizer in there.
Huh.
Yeah.
And how long will a plant live in this mix?
Several years, actually.
Oh.
High-quality potting soil is important because these bromeliads spend up to 15 months in the greenhouse as they mature for market.
These plants started as seedlings in Holland. They grow for about 1.5 years there before they send the little seedlings on to Florida. Florida plants them in a cell like this, grows them for 3 months. They send them to us. We transplant them into these cells. After 3 months, they get up to this large. We shift them into a 3.5-inch pot. They sit there for about 3 months until they're at this stage. Then they're shifted to a 6-inch pot. They sat in the 6-inch pot for another 3 months before they're brought down and spaced out more and gassed. And in 4 months, they would be sold.
Ethylene gas gets injected into the water that irrigates these plants. The ethylene triggers the plants to flower at just the right stage to send to market. As striking as these are, there's much more to bromeliads than showy flowers.
Some bromeliads we grow for their beautiful flowers, and others for the fantastic foliage.
This is really more of an interior scape item where they want something unusual that will last longer than a flowering plant.
So in a business or a hospital or something like that. As a home gardener, can I grow these in my garden?
Sure.
And how would I do that?
Well, you want to have a protected location where it's not too cold in the wintertime and not too hot or bright in the summertime, and well drained.
Well-drained soil. And if I don't have that, I can just keep them in the pot, right?
Right.
Their exotic appearance might make you think that bromeliads are high maintenance, but they're actually quite easy, long-lasting plants, both indoors and out.
Probably the most important thing that we like to get across to anybody that visits the nursery like you are today is how to water and not to overwater them. Most people think that plants live in a rainforest. They don't live in a rainforest, they live in a cloud forest. The difference being a rainforest, it rains every day of the year. Cloud forest, it rains every day for 6 months, and it doesn't rain for 6 months. During the 6 months that it doesn't rain, there's fog in the air. The plants have developed special cells at the base of the leaf to pull that fog out of the air to use that. If they get too much water in the leaves while they're in flower, they'll rot. And in 3 weeks, they'll be a smelly, dead mess. So we tell people sprinkle 1 ounce of water per week in the leaves, or 2 ounces every 2 weeks, never in the flower.
But wait a second, how do I know I have an ounce?
Okay, if you think you got too much, put your thumb on the soil, turn it over. Now you got the right amount.
Well, that's easy.
These showy Guzmanio add an exotic flavor to any interior. But in Southern California, bromeliads aren't limited to indoors. From houseplant to patio plant, here in Southern California, there are bromeliads for every situation. Juliana Raposo is crazy about bromeliads. Her home is a showcase for her collection of bromeliads, orchids, and succulents.
So all of these are neurogilias, and different sizes, different colors, but they're the same genus.
Juliana's artistry and her expertise have led to some eye-catching displays.
This is one of my favorites. So this king palm died, right? And immediately I thought, what a good opportunity to put some bromeliads in it. Thinking of what would make the biggest statement, I went bold with the Acmea blancheriana, big and orange up there, and I grabbed my tall ladder that we used to hang the Christmas lights, and my zip ties and my cable fasteners, and I used a mixture of everything to keep it nice and tight up there because it can get windy.
And there's no soil up there.
Zero soil. They've been there about 3 years, and they like it.
It looks beautiful.
Juliana is a conceptual artist who was born and raised in Brazil. So bromeliads bring a feeling of home into her intimate garden space in Carlsbad, California. She's come up with clever ways to create privacy for her garden while showing off her impressive collection of plants.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, this is something I love. It's a big old piece of driftwood, and it makes a perfect host for bromeliads.
And what about, is this a tree?
Yeah, this is a skeleton of a tree that my landscaper brought in. We put it in a concrete base that is buried underneath. And it was just real fun to cover it with bromeliads. There are about 7 types of bromeliads in there, and also some cactus and even orchids.
You know, most people would have something like that left over from a tree and they would just chip it, but you've made something beautiful out of it. Talk about a good recycling project. That's great. I really like what you do here in this narrow spot. Most people would want to put a hedge because they don't know what else to do, but you've used the bromeliads and all the other plants. It's beautiful.
Well, it's an opportunity to garden, and in a small garden, you have to take every opportunity.
Juliana doesn't feel limited by her small space. She uses it to her advantage by displaying specimens up close and in dramatic vignettes.
You have the most clever ways to display plants, like this orchid. What's the wood that it's on?
It's on a piece of cocobolo wood.
Wow, and then you've got this one. Is this the same wood?
It's a different orchid, but it's growing with a bromeliad, a little neurogilia.
Also in the wood.
Also in the wood.
Oh, I like the fact that you put the plant tags in the back.
Yeah, I like to remember what they are, so.
And what about this? This is a stone with the bromeliad.
Yeah, it's a lava rock.
Is this how it would grow in nature?
Yes, this one does grow on rocks.
This beautiful garden is the result of its creator's design eye, using color, shape, and textures, and emulating the many ecosystems where bromeliads thrive.
We piled up a bunch of rocks, and in every crevice, we put cardboard, wood chips, and little rocks, and a bromeliad went into every crevice with some succulents.
Well, that's part of why I think this is so interesting. You've got the bromeliads, but you've got these beautiful succulents that are playing off the colors and the shapes and the texture, and they all live under the same conditions.
Yeah, they seem to like it here.
And then this little hidden gem, a little orchid.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice touch. I like that. How did you attach all the plants?
Oh, many different ways. So these white things here are cable fasteners. You just nail them in, put your plant in the little groove here. I also have zip ties. I managed to find ones that blend in with the wood. Over here, I have Velcro straps or hook and loop straps.
I like the way you mounted all these different plants on the palm tree.
Yeah, it reminds me of Brazil.
The diversity of Juliana's collection, enriched by her knowledge of how these plants grow and her skill with creative displays, makes this garden a cozy and private oasis and a showcase for the versatility of the beautiful bromeliad. Whether you see bromeliads in a cloud forest, in a supermarket, or a backyard patio, their exotic beauty is hard to resist. So why not add some bromeliads to your garden? I'm Nan Sterman. See you next time on A Growing Passion.